Okay.
Viewers all over the world, I welcome you today in this great sermon on divorce. Divorce comes as a result of disagreement between the husband and the wife. Now, we shall look at this according to the biblical standard, and we are going to see from the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 3 to 10. Now, the Pharisees came to him and tried to trap him. They asked, "Does our law allow a man to divorce his wife in whatever reason?" And Jesus answered, "Haven't you read the scripture? In the beginning, the Creator made male and female." And he also said, "And for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and will unite, will cleave to his wife, and the two will become one. So then, they shall be no longer two, but one. And whatever God has joined, no man shall separate." Now the Pharisees asked, "Why then did Moses give people permission to divorce their wives after giving them a divorce notice?" Now Jesus had the answer. He told them that Moses gave them that law. God allowed them to do that because they were too hard to teach. And he also told them that whoever shall leave his wife, whoever shall divorce his wife and marry another one, then the two will have committed adultery. Because if you leave your legal wife and marry another one, then you'll have committed adultery, except if there is infidelity, except if there is fornication, adultery. So if one of the spouses commit adultery, then the other faithful one is free to divorce. Now remember, according to the biblical truth and standard, marriage is supposed to be permanent. It is supposed to be divine. But because of human sinfulness, then divorce has been allowed in courts because of our own sinfulness. Now, the pain of divorce is too great, and therefore, many churches, many ministers have tried to reinterpret. They have also tried to water down, and even some have completely de-emphasized the idea of marriage. And that is why divorce seems to be an acceptable thing. But de-emphasizing the biblical teaching is neither helpful nor compassionate. Now let's look at the teachings of the Old Testament. The Bible clearly represents marriage as a permanent bond, a unity that is bound by God Himself. And this should be lifelong and permanent. Now, this is God's unchanging ideal. But since the fall of man, human beings have survived, have continued to live in a sub-ideal level or standard. Remember, divorce was only allowed. It was not commanded at all. It has never been commanded in the Bible. Now, according to the Old Testament, divorce was to take place after a legal notice was handed over to the wife or to the spouse. in case of indecency. But regrettably, the word indecency, even among the Jewish leaders and also the religious leaders, has been a subject of debate for so long. We've tried to analyze what the meaning of indecency means. But in the real sense, indecency here is referring to adultery or unfaithfulness to their spouse. Now, Jesus also clearly indicated this in Matthew chapter 19, verse 3 to 10. Now, the teaching of Jesus reaffirmed the permanent nature of marriage. And that is why divine permission was never granted for divorce. Now, Jesus also stated that sexual immorality was the only thing that can make a person be given permission to divorce. But all these given, remember, forgiveness and reconciliation remains the key part. In fact, it overrules all this. Although the spouse who have been offended by his or her partner is free to divorce due to unfaithfulness or sex apart from marriage, then reconciliation is the best. It has never been commanded that a person leave his or her wife. It's only a leeway because of our own sinfulness. Now, what have we learned from this? Now, we have learned that God's intention for marriage was a permanent one and was for female and male. He also ordained marriage. Therefore, marriage should be permanent and exclusive union. This is the divine purpose of God, and this is God's ideal. Now, the second thing that we have learned is that there's nowhere in the Bible where divorce has been commanded or encouraged. Now, look at Malachi, the book of Malachi, chapter 2, verse 13 to 16. Now, God is reprimanded human being. And that is why he says, there is also another thing that you do. You drown God's altar with the tears because God is no longer willing to listen and to accept your offering. You ask why he no longer accepts them. It is because he knows that you have broken the promise you gave your wife, whom you married when you are young. She was your partner, and you have done awful things to her by trying to divorce her. Now, didn't God make you one when you got married? The divine purpose of this was to make you have children and to enjoy life together. And this is what God is telling people in verse 16, which is the key verse, that he hates divorce. He hates it completely. Now, if God hates divorce, then you see that there is nowhere he can divinely give you permission to do it. I've told you that it is only given in quotes because of our own sinfulness. Now, the other thing we have learned, the third thing we have learned from this is that in the New Testament, divorce has been given permission in quotes. That is what I'm saying. If one spouse becomes unfaithful and commits adultery, then the innocent person, if he or she is a believer, then is free to divorce. The other thing is that if the spouse who is an unbeliever decides to leave the believer due to his or her religion, then the believer has no choice. If this person is ready to go, then the believer will be left like that and divorce will have occurred. The other thing is that divorce, and we have seen this, causes a lot of suffering. And one of the causes of divorce is unfaithfulness. That is one. If one partner is unfaithful to the other, then divorce takes place. Adultery has affected and aborted God's divine purpose for marriage. Remember, when you got married, you became one. You no longer became two, you became one. And therefore, if one of the spouse commits adultery, that means he or she has joined his or her body to another person, and therefore the rule of God of one has now been broken. And that is where divorce occurs. Now, adultery has been the most or the greatest reason for divorce. Therefore, the innocent person, remember here, has not been given permission to divorce. Now, reconciliation, as I stated earlier, is more preferable to divorce. The other thing that can make people divorce is immaturity. Some people just become immature even after marriage. They refuse to accept responsibilities. They refuse to acknowledge that they have a task ahead of them. If it is a husband, he absconds all his responsibilities. This is immaturity. If it's a wife, she absconds all her responsibilities at home. This is immaturity. And this can cause division. It can cause stress in marriage. And therefore, these people are likely to divorce. The other one that makes divorce take place so easily nowadays is because of some social effects or sanctions. One of them is that the legal barrier for marriage and divorce has been lowered so much. So now it is very easy for a person to marry and then divorce the next time. Now we have got so many women liberation movements, and they have become so powerful nowadays and very influential. These have caused a lot of divorce in many homes. The media is also encouraging infidelity. So you can see even in social media, some pornographic pictures are shown, and even the videos and even the cinemas that are shown are depicting a family where infidelity is not a problem. And now this one has grown in people's minds and hearts, and that is why divorce is taking place so easily nowadays. Now, all these social attributes, these attitudes combined will make divorce a viable option in case there is marital stress. Now, the other thing that can make people divorce is physical and psychological abuse. Some men beat their wives, and some women also beat their husband. We have seen even them molesting. There's also mental torture. There are some people who cannot beat you, but they will abuse you. They will use insultive words so much that you just feel you can't stand all this, and this has caused divorce. Now, other stresses, like stress at work or strained relationships with friends, even outside marriage, can cause divorce. Now, when this stress is so severe, then it can severe also the marriage. So if one of the mates become an alcoholic, then he creates a lot of tension at home. This can cause divorce. Also, drug abuse and insufficient money. The other thing is rigidities and resentment. All these can cause divorce. Now, what are the effects of divorce? Divorce is very painful. It can thoroughly disrupt one's life, routine, feelings, and also it can be shown outwardly through verbal outbursts. It can affect people physically, psychologically, and also spiritually. You can see even a saved person after divorce, that person can easily slide back and move to Satan's way. It can lead to emotional upheaval, interpersonal tensions. It can also bring division among people, even family members. Now, divorce undergoes several stages. Now, we can look at 3 stages through which divorce takes place. Now, the person recognizing that this is really happening to him or her undergoes a stage we call shock stage. Now, marriage that started as that happened and was expected to bring happiness, to have a lot of optimism, to have hope and happiness. Now, all of a sudden changes into a feeling of rage, hatred, and resentment. All these happens during the first stage. Remember, when people get married, they are very much optimistic that their life is going to become very good. But if it breaks, then all this hope is shattered, and that is why people suffer shock. People facing shock can depict this in a variety of ways. Some will withdraw completely from people, and they cancel all social contacts. Others talk and talk and talk with as many people as possible, even to strangers. They talk about this item, and they can even tell the deeper details of their marriage. Some will keep these to themselves, and this will continue to eat them for a very long time. Some feel guilty, and also they feel that they have become failures. Others feel smug and bitter. Now we go to the second stage of divorce, and this is the divorce we call adjustment stage. Now, this one includes 2 things: a positive mourning, where this person will now start living in fantasies of a happy days that they lived together with their spouse before this break. So they remember the good things they did, the happy times they had, and they also remember the gifts that they were given by their spouses. That is the stage we call positive mourning. Then there is also another stage called negative mourning, where these people swim in experiences, very bad experiences, and they try to assemble parts of their life. They put them into pieces, slowly picking them in pieces, remembering that they still have demands in life. And also, they also learn to live without the mate. That is the stage we call mourning stage. Now, the third stage is growth stage. Here, people honestly admit that now they have been left alone, and now the reality of life comes to them. If they have children, they will learn to live with them. And if the children are living apart or away from them, they also learn to live without the children and also maybe to take care of them when they are away from them. Now, all this will help the person now to reconstruct their life, his or her life, and now we will start thinking positively. They will fight self pity. They will even would not want anybody to remind them about their divorce or even trying to show empathy so much to them. No, they would not like that because a time has come for them now to fight self pity and also many. And these are the people who benefit a lot. Many seek God's guidance and they indulge themselves in prayer and reading the Bible. Now, when they come to this stage, now they have come to self-realization and they are now able to move forward. In all these stages, we have read the three stages, the shock stage and also the growth stage. Then we see a lot of changes in them. We can observe them. We can observe several changes in these people. Some are emotional, some are behavioral, and some are social effects. Now, look at the emotional effect. One, divorce is accompanied by almost endless range of emotions, ranging from fear, guilt, sadness, depression, and even sometimes thought of committing suicide. This anger, bitterness, and frustration are well depicted in the life of the divorcee. Often, along with the distress, there is a sense of euphoria and relief, and even sometimes stimulates more guilt. So when they continue pondering over this, it can even stimulate more guilt. Most couples experience periods of indecision. They don't know what to do. A period of confusion or vacillation. These people also sometimes experience a period of hyper alertiveness because they do not know what other wrong thing is likely to happen in their life. They keep waiting for something bad to happen. Now, the body, of course, cannot continue resisting and maintaining attention or vigilance. And as such, most of these people now often suffer from psychosomatic illness. So psychological problems become so much in them that they can depict a form of illness, mental illness, which can be known or which can be recognized by almost everyone. Now, the behavioral effect, that is another effect that is caused by divorce. Divorce not only affects one life or what one feels, it also influences what one does. Eating, paying rent, solving daily problems, taking care of one's property, all these are influenced by divorce. Now, these people, remember, will come to a realization that life must continue. And as such, they get troubled a lot when trying to solve these problems. So behavioral effect will take place. Now, if they have children, the divorced person must adjust and must adjust, because now he or she has become single, must adjust on how to take care of their children as a single family. Now, either living apart or living with the children. Now, preoccupied with the problems, one's work often suffers. The efficiency, the quality, the quantity of production is lowered so much. Now, the social effect is another thing that divorce affects, and the social effect will include so many people. The first group is the family. Now, remember, when people get divorced, the family react in different ways. Some will accept and support this divorce, or the people who have divorced, and some will even judge them harshly. Some will even reject them. Some will not even want to come closer to them. Some will see them as a burden, because if they have children, they think that they'll be given the burden of rearing the children, and that is why the family reacts in different ways. The other people in this category who are involved in this divorce are the allies. Remember, these people who have divorced have friends. These friends will affect their lives in a way. They are also lawyers. There are also some family members who support them. All these people sometimes complicate the issue. They complicate the situation by giving these people who have problems advice that could complicate their matters even more. We also have other people in that category, that is the critics. The critics can be found even within the church. Some people will consider or will judge these people harshly. They'll consider them in a judgmental way. And that is why they'll feel secluded and they'll feel that they are not wanted. Also, another group of people who are involved or who takes part in a marriage, in divorce, are friends, married people, even those who are great friends. When people divorce, the married couples feel threatened. Remember, these people now have become singles, and now these feel threatened. If it is a husband, you think that the wife will be taken by one of them, and therefore they create also tension in other families. So divorced people will get affected by that divorce. The other group are the singles, those who have never married and they are still existing as a family. They have children, but they have never lived as married people. They have lived as singles. These people are mostly welcoming. Remember, some of them see the divorced person as a potential partner, dating partner in future. Now, divorce is painful, and we should pray to God that families should live together. When families live together, they pray together, they eat together, they do things together, then they are able to grow, and they can even increase their wealth. There is happiness in that home. We should pray that divorce shall never happen, shall never take place. Remember, even the Apostle Paul knew this, and he knew that even after divorce, life must continue. And that is why he gave another commandment there, that if you as a believer, your spouse refuses to live with you on grounds of doctrine, that is, you have now accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior, and your spouse does not want this. If that spouse decides to leave you, then you are free to marry, to remarry. This according to Apostle Paul, because he knew that life must continue. Divorce is painful, but God hates divorce. We should pray that we shall never have divorce. And now, thank you, my viewers, for this sermon that you have listened today. We are broadcasting from Nua's apartment located in Rumuruti town along Rumuruti Marara Road here in the Republic of Kenya. I am Pastor Kiama from Christian Outreach Ministries Worldwide, Durumo Church. Thank you very much. Until next time, I bid you goodbye. Thank you, and may God bless you.